Okay, I'll make a start. Well, for those who don't know me, I'm Miss Townsend, head of Year 7. We do three of these a year. First one's always in person, and then we do two more that are online just to make it a little bit more convenient for everybody. And it's just a chance to go through some key dates and just to fill you in some things that are coming up that you wouldn't have experienced before, such as Parents' Evening and things like that, and a little bit of information about online safety and just a reminder really of some of our communication channels and some of our timings of the day, just so if anyone's unclear. Right, this is being recorded, so you will be able to listen to this again. And I will put the PowerPoint up onto the announcements section of class charts. So don't feel that you have to rush to write every single thing down. You will be able to access this afterwards. Key dates coming up. So, most important event of the season at the Year 7 Disco. That's happening on Friday. Actually, Thursday the 13th, excuse me, Thursday the 13th of February. So, but not Friday the 13th, Thursday the 13th of February. Creators Day and the last day before half term, marking halfway through the year of Year 7, which is amazing. Um, which I'm going to explain a little bit more about in a minute. So that's on Friday. And then we're back in school on Monday the 24th, which is the first day back after half term. We break up again on Friday the 4th of April. And the first day of the summer term is Tuesday, the 22nd of April. Wednesday, the 30th, we have our Year 7 Parents' Evening, which I'm going to talk a little bit about what happens there. And then 23rd of May, half term, 2nd of June, back, and then the 18th of July, the last day of the summer term. So that's kind of what the rest of the year is looking like. A few of those things like Parents' Evening, I'm going to explain a little bit more about. But firstly, disco night. Yes. So Thursday, the 13th of Feb, 4 to 6. Um, we do need you to sign up via Parent Pay. There is a £1 entry fee for the disco, which money goes back into the year group. You need to sign up via Parent Pay. That's the only way that we can track permission from you to know that so if you are struggling with Parent Pay, please pop into reception. They're very good at sort of getting codes and helping you out with that. But it is going to be a useful thing for all our permissions are done via Parent Pay. There will be food and snacks available to buy at the disco. We're just asking for cash only. I mean, they're not very much money. I think it's, most things are well under £1, sort of 50p for this, that kind of thing. So food and drinks are available to buy, and the disco is going to be 4 till 6. I know that kids are keen to get changed for the disco, so I have said as long as you can leave school, then come back for 4, that's fine, but they just need to make sure that they've got permission. And no phones. Please make sure that students are leaving their phones. We are going to remind them about that as well. And next sort of biggish event is Parents' Evening on the 30th of April. So it's going to be at the start of next term. So I might not get a chance to sort of speak to you all before then. And how Parents' Evening works is very different to Progress Review Day. You get a chance to speak with individual teachers to talk about the progress in each subject. So these are usually 5-minute appointments with each teacher. It runs from 4 to 6:30. And it's up to the students to make the appointments with the teacher. So they have a section in their contact book for making Parents' Evening appointments, and they make 5-minute appointments with each teacher. So just make sure that they're clear as to what times you can make Parents' Evening so that they know who to be booking with. So that's Parents' Evening. They usually takes place in our sports or some of the more creative subjects that have sort of other work and stuff to look at might be in different departments. Like I know that technology is in their department and art are quite often in their department, so that you can view some of the work as well. But That is parents' evening, so that'll be on the 30th of April, and that is straight after the sort of Easter break, pretty much. I think it's like a week or so in. So yeah, so it's all about the students making appointments with individual teachers. Creative day trip. So we've got all year seven forms are going on a trip on Friday. I think some are going to the V&A and Science Museum. We've got trips going to Kew Gardens, Wallace Collection, all over the place. Please, can you make sure that permissions are given on parent pay? Yeah, I think most groups are we're at about 50% permission at the moment. We won't be allowed to take them if we don't have your permission. So please, please, please make sure that those are given in good time so that we know who to follow up with. Students will need a packed lunch on that day. Free school meals, we do provide a packed lunch, so they don't need to worry. That will be provided for them. Students are allowed to wear trainers, but they must be in full school uniform other than that. So a lot of the trips, there is a bit of walking to and from transport. We will be taking public transport. So they can wear trainers. We do allow them to wear trainers, but other than that, must be in full school uniform, not PE kit, regular uniform. A good coat. Yeah, you wouldn't believe the amount of trips I go on, and there is somebody just in a t-shirt and no coat. So please make sure that there is like a good waterproof jacket as well, because that, like I said, is walking to and from transport, and the weather at the moment has not been particularly delightful. So so that will be needed. One thing that we did want to go through with you is just a reminder on mobile phone use. The school does have a no phone policy. That is something that we've always had. It's what's recommended by the police. How to keep kids safe is to have a no phone policy. We understand that there might be like some scenarios where kids, for medical reasons, for all sorts of different reasons, might need to leave their phone in reception. You must gain permission from Mr. Annabelli for this. Yeah. What we are finding as a year group, there is an increasing amount of social media bullying happening outside of school. Please, please, please work with us to help monitor this. Yeah, it's is actually a lot of the incidents that we have, particularly with friendship groups and all sorts of different things that are spilled out from social media into school. The following platforms are not allowed for under 13. I mean, there is a huge, I don't know, in the press, they've been talking about this a lot lately. In Australia, it looks like it's been raised to 16. I think that is likely to happen here as well. So TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, all those things that we sort of associate with sort of young people using are not allowed for under 13. I think, it will change by time our year sevens are 13 to 16 for sure. So we've got to be really, really careful about that. And I think what's coming really clear is just that there is just confusion about sort of like, things taken out of context. Some of the things, when I actually get down to the like nitty-gritty of it, the thing that actually starts a lot of these arguments is so sort of seems so outrageously small, but something taken out of context and not having that understanding of having that context can really sort of cause a lot of issues. So these apps, a lot of these I haven't even heard of. So ones that can't be used. WhatsApp is not until, at the moment, it's not supposed to be used till 16 anyway. But I think all of these will probably be sort of increased to 16, if not older. There is some guidance from the National Crime Agency that we have got for you. I know this is probably going to be really small to see on screen, but it's kind of a lot to do with sort of having that dialogue about what they are looking at and how and what they are, sort of who they're messaging, and do they actually know the people they're messaging, and having like continually having those conversations. There's quite a good link to the bottom of this slide, thinkyouknow.co.uk/parents. I really recommend having a look at that. And there's all sorts of links in there that they will tell you about sort of age recommendations for apps and, what sort of feedback and advice on them. So it is kind of really, really useful. And I think it is about constantly keeping that conversation open and being non-judgmental about it so that kids are sort of coming forward. I don't know whether anyone watched this swipe to the school that banned smartphones. I mean, it was a school obviously not like ours where they were allowed to use smartphones, but actually some of the messages that they talked about at the beginning of this were quite terrifying about what young people were able to access and how they were accessing it and how it was making them feel. And a lot of the times it was things with people not talking to people, like developing sort of friendships with people that weren't who they thought they were, and so it's quite scary stuff. So it's definitely something that I really, really want to make you aware of. And I'll be sending out some other sort of advice and things to look at about that. But we really need you to work with us on this because it is something that is really spilling over into school and it is taking up a lot of time and it's things that the kids should not be using really. Saying that, the positive use of technology, class charts. We have our school class charts information. Please keep logging in and having an overview of what's happening at school. We have noticed that there is much more of a positive impact to students, to individual students, when parents are regularly engaging with it. So please do, and I know a lot of you do, which is great. Year seven's had, I think, one of the highest highest parental engagements of the school. So please keep logging on. Or if you think you've lost your password, we can give you another code. Form tutors can do that. Any member of staff can do that. Reception will be able to give that to you. So please, please, please keep logging on because we do find it a useful way for us to communicate with you. And it's when you'll be informed of detentions and all the positive things that are happening in school as well. And the announcements tab, do keep a notice of it because I do sort of put things and links and stuff in for that. Just a reminder of communication channels. Please remember to use a form tutor as a first contact, form of contact. I do get a lot of emails and I can't always get back to everyone straight away. So do try and use the form tutors on a sort of more daily basis for little things, or if you need them to write a note in their contact book or things like that. Subject specific questions, I have put the link. So the school policy is to go through the head of department for the relevant subject. The list, obviously that will be a link that you'll be able to click on when you have a look at this. That is on the website. Somebody was asking me about the year 7 Teams chat. Unfortunately, this has been disabled for year 7 because it was being misused. Lots of stuff have been added onto lots of sort of group chats with lots of people, which wasn't really appropriate. So again, not for now, but it will probably be able to use it as they get older. But please email teachers if there's anything else that you have questions with. I know there's been some queries over some of the subject specific ones like Bedrock Learning. Really, they should go via their sort of English teacher. I'm not too sure what subject chooses what, but I know there's quite a host of them, but please try and go through the subject teachers for any issues surrounding those. Attendance, please email attendance at SNS if there's any issues with your child not being able to come in or for whatever reason. So just a reminder on that, and those are the email addresses for the tutors. And just a little reminder of the timings of the day. So the main gates at the front of the school open at 8:20 and they close at 8:30. Now, the expectation is that pupils should be in their tutor rooms ready to be registered at 8:30. We do have like a sign-in system for when the gate closes. So as soon as the gate closes and locked at 8:30, the students come down to the front of the school, and then we have like a swipe machine where they swipe their card that will register them in for the day, or they give their names to a member of staff that will register them in. Too late in the week will trigger a 20-minute lunchtime detention. So that will equal a 20-minute lunchtime detention. I have to say, I think year seven are pretty good at being on time. The majority of year seven are being pretty good. So it's not a huge issue, but I know there's been some sort of a confusion around, do you have to be at the school gate at 8:30? The idea is you're there at 8:25 latest and you're in your form room at 8:30. And all the timings for the school day can be found. And I put the link on there as well, just in case if you are interested. But you'll be able to see that when that's opened. And another thing to promote is our food bank. Every month, we have the first Friday of the month, we have a collection for our community food bank. So please donate any sort of non-perishable food, so things like dried pasta, tins, things like that can be kept, and also toiletries, so that they can be donated to the food bank. The next one is the 7th of March, Friday the 7th of March. And also, I think there is a link on Parent Pay as well. So if you want to make a donation, but you're not very good at remembering things like, I don't know, sending in food, then fine. If you can make a donation through Parent Pay, it will be greatly received. Yeah, and that's kind of the main points from me, really. So I will do some questions now, which I'm sure there's probably a few. Unless Mr. Annabelli, did you want to add anything?
Great. No, thank you.
Okay,
Thank you very
great.
much. Yeah.
Okay, let me have a look. Let me open the chat. Okay, there's a question here about how to escalate a concern when we try to contact a teacher a couple of times and they do not answer. I think if you're getting that a couple of times, then please feel free to go via the form tutor or myself, I think, if that happens. And yeah, and then we can try and support you with trying to get your concern answered. Yeah, that's no problem. Yeah, so please just either add myself in or the form tutor, and then we can help you with that concern, because we'll be able to speak to them in person if needed. Great. Okay, fine. Again, yeah, if you're not getting a response and there's something that you've been waiting to hear from, please just CC in myself, and then we can try and get a response. Yeah, substitute, yeah, and supply teachers. We do get hit at certain points of the year, and I know that we've just had an issue with sort of uh colds and winter sort of flu things going around, and now actually I know that drama and music have been hit quite bad because some of the year 11s are doing their sort of final assessments. We do have these pinch points, and I know it's not ideal. And we try where possible to put in cover teachers. Like, we have obviously external agency cover teachers, but we also have our own in-house cover teachers. And like classes that have been really hit, we do try and put our own staff in as much as possible. It is something that, as a school the size of ours, that we do find it's unavoidable in some cases, particularly with staff illness. Yeah, there's not a huge amount that we could do. We just really try and get any longer term absences. We try to get subject specific cover as much as possible. But yeah, it is a challenge that we have. I think any school does. Uh, yeah, I think with French, they have had a specialist cover teacher. They have had one internal. I'm not too sure of the class, so from what I know, that they have had one internal cover teacher who's not a French specialist, just on for one of their lessons. But I think the head of French has been working with them to sort of map out that curriculum. So I think there's a mixture of things going on there. Hold on, I'm just trying to keep up.
Yeah, sorry. If we go back to the Key Stage 4 target grades, there's somebody, I think there was a question on Key Stage 4 target grade. I
Oh
wouldn't,
yeah.
yeah, you want to take that, yeah.
Yeah, sure. I think we have just, as of a couple of weeks ago, we just did our final CATS tests that we were missing. So I think that is going to be updated soon. As soon as it is, I will put an announcement, and then everyone who wants to know what the target directions are, we'll try and arrange a way to do that. So that is in the process of being updated. I think it was actually only sort of last week or something that we did our final CATS testing. So hopefully that will be updated imminently. Yeah, so I will get back to you on that one.
So something about menu, food.
Menu.
Mm.
Okay, that's a very good point actually. Menu is not updated. Okay, yeah. I will get in. We have an external company that run our canteen. It's called Olive. They run a lot of school canteens, in fact. And I will see how we can get to do that, because that is a very good point. And I'm sure that
I think it's on weekly, miss. I think menu is on weekly basis. So each day runs through, then the following week it's the same thing. I think that's what they got.
I was
So
there.
it's on weekly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Let me find out about that, just to like
Yes.
make
Okay.
sure that we're sending out the correct menu as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Let me finish from the substance being the main issue. It's really difficult with substitute teachers, because in my experience, we've had some that have been really fantastic and really engaged. But sometimes we're kind of left in a position where we don't have a lot of choice, and it also depends on sort of what the class are doing at the time and how it has to be sort of structured to meet that. But I will feed that back. If they do email me, I think I've had some emails about what subjects particularly are that people feel most concerned about. But feel free to email me, and then I can get in touch with the head of departments to sort of make sure that cover has been set appropriately. Exams and assessments, we don't do what a lot of schools do, where they have like blocked out weeks of assessments. We tend them to do them on an individual subject, subjects to do them individually as and when, and like sort of students will be notified within those lessons as to when those are coming up. And every progress report that you get. So you've had your first one towards Christmas time, and you'll get another one towards the end of this term. That's when you'll see, like, based on those assessments, how they're doing. I guess the target directions. We don't really have sort of assessment weeks as such, or like formal exams or anything like that. It's more sort of like we do that through subjects as subjects do them. So as I mentioned, that the parents' evening will be on the 30th of April. So as soon as we get back from the Easter holidays, students will start booking teachers. appointments with teachers on for the 30th of April. Okay, we have 3 pastoral workers that are attached to year 7, and it depends on their form group. But actually, if they were concerned about anything, or immediately they can go to any of them to voice their concerns, or they can come to me, and then we can get regular check-ins with the correct pastoral worker. Yeah, forms will pretty much, they will stay the same all the way through up until year 11.
Yeah. Can I just go back to the pastoral worker? Do they
Yeah.
want it depends on what form your child is, as Miss Townsend has said. We'll have 3. So if your child is in STO, they will see Miss Dipros, who is head of year 10. If your child is in KEN, any of those form, they will see Miss Molly. And if your child is in WIG, then they will see Miss Joe. So any of those, but as Miss also said, they do have the option also of seeing any of them, but in particular, that is how they are placed. Okay.
Yeah.
Next one is
menu issue. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna ask about that menu. I don't know. I haven't seen I haven't seen where it's been advertised. I'm not too sure how that works, but I will definitely find out about that, because I can understand it's really important for pre-planning and knowing when you want to send in food and when you don't. Okay, yeah, that's a good feedback. I would pass that on to the French department. So you'd like a French style bedrock. Yeah, okay. Okay, so the reason why we did a target, so someone's asking on the missing data, why have you assigned everyone a target direction of 4, and what does this mean for the work that they assigned for in class? For the work they assigned in for class, nothing really. They will get assigned a work that they need to challenge them adequately based on their ability. The reason why we put 4 in was only because you would have no sense of direction. We wouldn't be able to give you any sort of secure developing advanced if we didn't have any grading for you. You'd basically get a blank report. So in order to give you some indication, we thought it best to put 4, because we wouldn't been able to do it otherwise. In an ideal situation, we really wouldn't be in this sort of situation, because we would have all the CATS data, and there's no reason why we should not have all the CATS data, but this is something that continues to happen. But in terms of our classwork, our classes aren't sort of streamed in any way, so that like all the kids, our teachers are sort of professionals, and they are trained to, where students have ability in a subject, they are pushed and challenged to their ability. So it shouldn't really make any difference to what they are able to achieve, because they're still the same child. It is just this number that we put in, just so that we could give some indication of how they're progressing, albeit not the right direction, but it's the best that we could do at the time. Do you want to add anything to that, Mr. Annabelli? Did I?
No, you got it right. It is perfectly correct. And I just want to reassure parents, these are just directions. They are nothing more than just to support, to help the teachers to make the correct judgment. They are not what your child is going to get in GCSE. It would be good if your child is obviously getting advanced. So if they have 4 and you think they are doing so well, they should be getting advance anyway. That's what it means. And it is great if the child is getting advance. If they are within the four, they'll be getting obviously green as it goes. So that's secure. And if they are below, working below the target direction 4, then it means that they'll be getting less than that. So yellow or red. So I think it's just a system which tells us and tell you, the parent, that your child is performing okay. It's not the target grade your child is going to take to GCSE. You've got to clarify that. By GCSE, when they choose their options, they will get their particular target. So that shouldn't be too much of an issue. Yeah. Next one. Parents' evening.
Yeah, we can't really do more than 5 minutes, I'm afraid. It's just we feel that there's a lot of people to the teachers have got to see a lot of students. Some teachers will have maybe 2 Year 7 classes and there's just not enough slots in the time. We are pretty good at getting down to the bare business in 5 minutes. So I think you'll find that you should get an overall picture, like quite well in that 5 minutes. Obviously, if there's teachers that you feel like I really want to speak about that a little bit longer, then you can always follow up with a phone call or arrange a separate meeting with them. But we do sort of feel that 5 minutes is kind of what we've got to work with, really. And it is, yeah, it's not the greatest amount of time, but we can get pretty good at sort of giving the sort of headlines in 5 minutes. We don't do our own CAT testing at SNS. We have done in this case where we've just had missing data. So we have had to run some CAT tests from a handful of students where we just didn't get the data, and where we just either maybe from different boroughs or from coming from different areas, or as what I've understand the whole picture of it, that there's kind of no rhyme or reason why we get some of the data and why we don't, and some's come in dribs and drabs and some hasn't at all. So in order to get that sort of the last few students sort of with their target directions, we have done a little bit of testing ourselves just because we haven't had the data, but we do take that from CATS test from primary school. Yes, I'm assuming that someone's asking whether forms are assigned for different homework from the same subjects. I think that's like, yes, they might be moving through the curriculum differently. Some teachers have different apps and things that they like to use that they have a preference for, and some sort of might not do. So that could be quite likely that different classes are being set different homework.
Can you bring that question to parents' evening and ask the Spanish teacher?
Yeah.
If possible. Login.
Is this for the class charts? The login for the class charts? Okay. Are you logging in through as a parent or as a pupil? Because it sounds like you might be logging in as a
student
if it only goes up to 1993, because it would definitely rule me out. So you might be just checking when you go onto class charts, it tends to have a parent or a pupil tab, I think, doesn't it? When you have a look at it. So maybe just double check that you're accessing through the parent. But we have quite a few parent receptionists too. They're also very good at helping. So if you happen to be popping by, do pop in and see them, because they'll only be too happy to show you. As well. Discipline is an issue on many classes. Okay, great. Well, that is an issue. That is something that we do take quite seriously, discipline in lessons. We do have a system where students are given a warning if they're not settled, and then they get moved into another classroom, so that they should be removed from that lesson. Perhaps you could email me independently about what sort of lessons that's happening in. That would be great, and then I can deal with those situations.
Can I just answer a little bit of that? When we say an issue in many classes, statistics that we have does show less than 5% of students do have such. So when we check the class chart, which gives us the behavior for learning data, we don't see up to that level. So I'm not sure, but it's something we could look at. If there's a particular class that this is happening to, then the SLT will also step in to support. Otherwise, the data we have doesn't get up to many. The word many classes is a little bit frightening. So please do email us, and then we'll look at our class. SLT will come in to check what's going on in the class. Thank you.
Again, about Quizlet on Spanish, I'm not too sure about that. Again, it could be a teacher dependent thing.
Yeah.
Parents'
evening, yeah.
Yeah, parents' evening. Is it? I think it's 4 till 6:30, isn't it? It's parents' evening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please, all these specific subject questions, feel free to either email the teacher or head of department, or when you come for parents' evening, do bring those specific subject-specific questions down to the parents' evening. I'll ask your child's teacher what sort of system they apply on their homework basis. Yeah.
Again, there's another one about class charts, parents' date of birth. I think just make sure that you're on the parents tab on that one. I didn't think it asked for a date of birth, but anyway, yeah, just check that you're on the parents tab. But like I said, pop into reception. We aim to be back by the end of the school day. There might be reasons like it might run over to 3:30 latest, but I can't think that there shouldn't be any big normal change to the school day for the trips. We do like to register them as a safeguarding issue. We have to register them in school before they go home, just so that like we've got that record that they've come back. Yeah, I will reiterate that with students as well, that we do have to come back. I know it's really frustrating for some kids because they're always like, but we're walking past my house. But it's a thing. We have to bring them back to school in order to then let them go. I'm not too sure about the science
again,
test.
it's a subject specific, yeah.
Yeah.
If you
I think
email
all students should be good, yeah. Parents' evening. Yeah, when they start, they will receive the revised target grade at the start of GCSEs. Yeah. So we start our year GCSEs courses in year 9. So that's only a year and a half away, actually. That's pretty scary, isn't it? Thinking about. But yeah, so they will have a received target grade. Then gradually, as you get into year 10, you will get predicted grades from teachers as well as on their progress check. So then you'll get a really clear idea of where the kind of direction that they're going in.
Can I just confirm? I think parents' evening goes up to 6:30.
Yeah, I think it does too.
It's not 6 p.m. 6:30.
Yeah, 6:30. If a child is not willing to take part in PE. Yeah, some teachers still like them to be in part of the lesson. Yeah, we don't really have it's also a safeguarding issue that we don't have anywhere to sort of, they've got to be with the teacher, with the class. And sometimes if depending on why they're not well, it's nice for them to still be involved in the lesson in some sort of part, you know, whether it is just being referee or doing something that's quite low key. I don't know the specifics of this situation, but they do still need to bring in their PE kit because I think it is nice that they're still part of that class.
It's in
Okay,
substitute lessons, yeah.
noticed. Yeah, substitutes. We've kind of touched on that before. We do try our best to minimize this. Um, we do find that we hope they won't impact the curriculum. We're hoping that it's like, I mean, where we have had long-term substitutes, we have had specialist teachers being put into place. Where it is one-off lessons, like at the moment, with one-off lessons, you know, with sort of like, I don't know, music and drama having all their assessments going on at the moment. Obviously, we hope that that won't have an impact on the curriculum. And we do try and set sort of relevant, you know, good cover work is our policy. Okay. Seems Okay, I think there seems to be like around the discipline issues, there seems to be some people, if you've got specific reasons, and please do let me know. And then we can sort of, like Mr. Annabelli said, we can sort of investigate what's going on in these lessons. We do keep an eye on what's happening on class charts and things like that. And when we do see sort of lessons, we do try and visit these lessons. Would we be allocated a time slot for parents' evening? No, the children will book a time slot with you. The children will book a time slot with the teacher, and then they will let you know. They will take their contact book in it. It's got like a little space for parents' evening appointments, and then they'll write them all in, and then then you'll get handed that, and that's when
I think the advice is to have conversation with your child, the best time for you to come in for parents' evening. Once you have that discussion with your child, then they will come into school and they will speak to their teachers. And then that is when the teacher will book in the slot available within the time which you believe you'll be able to make it into school. So it's a question of discussing what time it will be best fit you. Bearing in mind that you have about 11 subjects to see, so you need to spread that time in very well also.
We've spoken a little bit about targets. It's actually not just the Islington targets that haven't come through. There's actually no rhyme or reason to it why we've got some and not others. But they're going to be updated imminently. So I'm hoping straight after half term, I'll be able to give you some sort of answers on that so that you'll be able to do the second half of the year knowing correct target directions. That's a tricky one about the long-term substitute teachers because obviously it's a lot dependent on why that teacher might be off on long term, which is kind of like personal business. I do understand, but we can try and maybe think about ways of communicating this. Leave that one with me to sort of consider with timetabling what we might do. Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. We could find a way of
we'll
where
find a
possible.
way.
whatever,
Okay. Yeah, no, good point. Okay. I will ask that. Any other questions? Yeah, I think that's the kind of information that we don't really get told, but I do understand the point there. I do understand the point. You kind of want to have some sort of idea.
We may not know how long.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. We should find a way to communicate that through class chat, but we may not know how long. We will let you
Yeah.
know when there's long term. Yeah.
Right. Any other questions? Well, I hope you found some of that information useful. Most important things coming up in the next few days is permissions on parent pay for the disco and also for the trips on Friday. That's the most imminent thing if you can get back to us with. But thank you very much for your time, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye now.